Welcome back to the Mr. G Computer Science channel. If you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button to get the latest videos and give us a thumbs up for the video. It all helps with the YouTube algorithm. So let's look at the exam topic, do while loops. So let's just remind ourselves of the characteristics of a do while loop. So on line 2, we can notice the start of the loop. Line 10, we notice the end of the loop. And we can quickly see that because of indentation, we can easily see the structure of the loop itself, the start and the end of the loop. So let's just quickly recap the characteristics of a do until loop. Because this is a test on exit loop, that means the body of the loop has to be executed a minimum of once, hence its term test on exit loop. So the start of the loop is identified on line number 2. The end of the loop is identified on line 10. All of the code within the loop is indented. So straight away this helps us identify the structure of our code. So the exam question asks us to read the following pseudocode and complete a trace table with the following inputs. So what we're going to do is we've already pre-populated our trace table with the answer and we're going to talk through it. Now remember that trace table line entries should be where a variable has changed its contents or we have an output. Line 1 assigns the value of 2 to the variable lives. So you can see here line 1 and the data 2 within the variable lives. There's no change of data or output on line 2, so we don't write it on the table. We are then inputting the value, in this case 110, into the scores variable. So we have line 3 and the value 110. Line 4, we have if the score is less than or equal to 50. In this case, that is false, so it won't execute the true part of that if statement. It will jump to line 6 and execute this if statement here if the score is greater than 100. Well, yes it is. So this if statement evaluates to true. And as a result of that, lives will be incremented. Remember, increment means to add 1 to the contents of a variable. So we can see here that on line 7, lives has been incremented by 1. That is the end of the if statement. We then come across an output line. Print lives left, the string literal, and the contents of the lives variable. So we can see here line 9 and the string literal lives left with the equal sign, followed by the contents of the lives variable, which is 3. The until line will then be evaluated until lives is equal to 0. Lives currently is 3, so therefore that is false. So we jump back to line 3 and we input the second of our inputs, in this case which is 50. So this is shown on line 3 in our trace table and the data 50. We then evaluate the if statement if the score is less than or equal to 50. In this case it is equal to 50, so that's true. It then on line 5 says lives equals lives minus 1 or decrement the contents of the lives variable. So we can see here line 5, lives has been decremented. It won't execute the else part of the if statement because the first part was true. It will then jump to the print statement, print lives left and the contents of lives. So here we can see line 9, the string literal lives left and the content of the lives variable, which is 2. Again, we evaluate the until condition. Until lives equals 0. Lives is currently 2, so therefore this is false. So it jumps back to line 3, which gets the third of our inputs, which is 40. We can see this in our trace table, that line 3 is shown an input of the variable score with the value of 40. We then execute the if statement. If the score is less than or equal to 50, in this case it is true, and we decrement our lives variable once more. So in line 5 we can see our lives variable has been decremented again. The else part will not be executed. We then print our lives left and the contents of the lives variable. So here we have our line 9 plus the string literal lives left equals 1. Again, we evaluate our until condition until lives is equal to 0. Lives is equal to 1. So therefore we jump back to line 3 and we get our final input of the value of 30. We execute the if statement. If score is less than or equal to 50, this is true. We decrement our lives variable. So now we can see here that we have decremented the lives variable and it now has the value of 0. Because this line was true, we won't execute the else part of the if statement. We will jump straight to the print statement or the output line, print the lives left and the value of lives. So we can see here on line 9 that we have our string literal output plus the value of lives. Our final evaluation of the until statement says until lives is equal to 0. Well, lives is 0 now, so therefore this is true. So the execution of the loop will stop. And we now move on to our line 11, which will print the string literal finished. So here we can see our line 11 with the string literal finished. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a big thumbs up for the video.